is going on, Division 2 agents? Welcome back to the channel. It's Dwerewolf Gaming back in action. Today, agents, I got a build that I will showcase. This build isn't anything new, but just a build that you can use for this winter theme event. And also, agents, this build will also work in Retaliation as well. With that being said, the winter event is a time event, agents, so now I recommend you get out there and grind it. You need to obtain these winter keys and use those keys to get all sorts of items from special winter event vendor. All right, so let's go over this really quick. We are currently in title update year 7 season 3.1, and the patch notes reads as following. The winter event will be live from December 16th to January 6th. So you got from December 16th to January 6th to tackle this event. Krampus theme encounters will occur across Washington DC, allowing agents to earn winter keys and event rewards. This is also a limited time winter event vendor will be available during this event, agents, and you can also participate in a global community challenge to unlock exclusive cosmetic rewards. So basically, you will be able to obtain Krampus outfit if the community are able to donate a certain amount of keys. All right, you can also obtain the Julmus Hunter mask. Has been added back to the Summit Floor 100. Some other things that will be occurring during this time period is basically coming up between December 26th and December 30th. We got something called Stats and Resources Multiplier event that will be taking place. And it falls in line with the countdown. Basically, it's called Countdown Surge Resource Multiplier event. And this runs from December 26th till December 30th. You can earn double countdown requisitions while playing the countdown game mode during this event. And shortly after that, agents, in January, we will also have a Deadeye Overdrive event. And basically, it focuses on stats multiplier event. And this runs from January 9th to January 13th. The following bonuses are active for the duration of this event. You will have 60% increase in headshot damage, 30% increase in weapon damage, 40% accuracy, 40% stability, and 40% increase in weak spot damage. So that sounds like a very fun event, agents. You will be doing massive damage with your weapons. So as far as this right here, the news, this is currently what's going on. There are a couple other things that is taking place, such as they will be adjusting the NPC companion voice line frequency and volume to reduce excessive chatter during gameplay based on player feedback. So some issues with the outfits as well, where basically if you was putting on one of the collaboration outfits, basically it will make your upper body become invisible whenever you wear creative collaboration apparel. So that's another thing that is fixed as well. And also there's fixed the issue where the combat medic talent would last longer than 10 seconds after being activated. Currently what's taking place right now in the Division 2 agents. But stick around, I do have a build that I will showcase that you can use, and there are many different variations of this build, and I use all different types of builds. So let's get in. Let's do it, agents. All right, so the build that I decided to use for this particular event is another backfire build, but you can use the Ouroboros with this because I was using this with the Ouroboros some as well. But as many of you know by now, the backfire is just an amazing SMG because you can dish out pretty good damage. The talent on it is what truly stands out. It's called Payment in Kind. Dealing damage to enemies as a stack of 2% critical hit damage, up to 100 stacks, lasts for 10 seconds to get up to 200% increase in critical hit damage. But keep in mind, on reload, it will apply a bleed to you, basically, which deals 0.5% armor damage per stack. All right, you cannot change the mods that come on this weapon. Now, we are rocking the rock and roll shotgun, primarily for the talent, basically, but this gun shoots out multiple pellets, which helps you build up your stacks. The talent is called Perfect Extra, and you get a boosted magazine capacity of 50%. Now, since we are using the Striker's Gear set, this gun will work great. But if you have the new Stack Broker, that will work great as well, or any ACS 12 gun, because it shoots out multiple pellets and you can build up those stacks pretty fast. We are utilizing the quick step for the support mode, basically get 20% increase in movement speed, but keep in mind this does not stack with any other movement speed talents. All right, agents, so we are utilizing the 4-piece Striker's Battle Gear set, which gives us 15% increase in weapon handling, 3% increase in rate of fire, and we have on all 4 pieces you get Striker's Gamble. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. So basically that would be 65% increase in weapon damage when you do have 100 stacks. 1 stack is lost per second between 0 and 50 stacks, and 2 stacks are lost between 50 and 100 stacks if you're not firing. Core attribute, we do have a weapon damage core, and the attributes we do have on this mask is has protection and protection from elite. All right, for us the chassis, we are utilizing one piece of the Y'all Gear set, which gives us 10% increase in hazard protection. For the core attribute, we do have an armor core. We do have a 6% critical hit chance attribute, another hazard protection, and the protection from elite. For the talent, we did decide to utilize obliterate and critical hits increase total weapon by 1% for 10 seconds. This stacks up to 20 times. So basically, that's 20% increase in weapon damage when you have all full stacks. For the holster weapon damage core, but we can change that to armor if necessary, and we do have a 10% hazard protection on the holster as well. For the knees, it is identical agents with another armor core, or actually armor core with hazard protection, and the gloves is an armor core with hazard protection as well. For the backpack, we did go with the Memento backpack because it gives you all 3 cores. We do have a 12% protection from elites on the backpack, and the talent is called Kill Confirm. Killing enemies drops trophies that provide short and long-term buffs. That scales with the number of cores you have. For example, I do have 3 red cores on this build, so each trophy I collect will be 15% increase in weapon damage, 40% increase in bonus armor, and 5% increase in skill efficiency. For every trophy you collect, you gain an additional plus 1% weapon damage, skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regeneration for 300 seconds. Keep in mind, when you do have 30 stacks, that is 30% increase in weapon damage, skill efficiency with 3% armor regeneration. Now, if you don't have the Memento backpack or just don't like collecting those trophies, you can easily, agents, just go with the Striker's backpack as well. And I do have I have this backpack in 2 versions. I do have one with hazard protection on it as well, and just add the protection from elites. But if you don't need a protection from elites, agents, just put whatever attribute you prefer, such as critical hit chance or critical hit damage. This is another option as well, and of course, in that way it will open up another exotic spot. For example, if you wanted to go with the Catharsis mask, which is great, agents, because of the talent. The talent on this mask is called Vicious Cycle. Taking damage builds stacks to a cap of 30. Each stack grants 1.5% increase in weapon damage. Taking damage at max stacks trigger a purge, which removes all stacks and status effects, and dropping a healing cloud, which restores 5% of your max armor for 10 seconds to you and all allies that are within the cloud. So that is another option as well. Like I said, there are many different variations of this build that you can utilize. You can even use the Striker's chest if you do have this as well. I do have hazard protection on it. And with that, the talent on this chest gives you press the advantage, increases your max stacks from Striker's Gamma from 100 to 200. So basically, agents, that's more damage. But keep in mind, 3 stacks are lost per second between 100 and 200 stacks. We did utilize the Crusader Shield. It scales with the number of blue and yellow cores you have, agents, just for a little bit more protection, especially when we're doing things like Retaliation or any other type of harder content in this game. Now, I was utilizing the scanner pulse some, and even the fixer drone. And the pulse, it works great, agents, especially when you're trying to look for those enemies that are hiding, the Krampus enemies that are hiding, because those guys hide a lot. It makes finding them a lot easier. Now, as far as the modifiers, we are utilizing the Spearhead modifier, but I know you don't have to use this modifier if you don't want, agents, but it works pretty good. I enjoy using the companion because it's like I'm basically having the free revival with you without actually having to have the revival hive. And also they work great as far as the distraction as well. Keep in mind, you do need to max out your recruits, agents, 10 of each one, to get up to 15% increase in weapon damage, 20% increase in hazard protection, and 15% increase in skill efficiency. Keep in mind, when you don't have your active modifier active, you can double that. So basically, you'll be at a 30% increase in weapon damage, 40% increase in hazard protection, and 30% increase in skill efficiency. So that is another great option if you don't want to use your companion. Let's take a look at the weapon stats. We do have a total weapon damage of 124,946 with 60% critical hit chance and 6% critical hit damage and 52% critical hit chance, 70% headshot damage. All right, we do have 1,491,289 armor with 149,129 armor on a kill. Keep in mind, it is showing 0 armor regeneration, but that will go up when you do get your stacks from the Memento backpack. As you can see, agents, it is showing that I do have all my status effects 100%, but something isn't correct because I do have my companion equipped, so I don't know why it's showing that right there. But basically, with this build, you will be at 90% on all your status effects, basically, agents, because that is the amount of pieces that I do have on it as hazard protection, and the 10% that you get from your watch actually adds up to only about 90% hazard protection, bleed resistance, and blind resistance, basically all the status effects. So keep that in mind. Now, if you don't need as much hazard protection on your build, because you can get away with lower amounts, I don't like having that status effect, especially like those enemies, certain enemies, when you shoot the backpack, And that green cloud, it basically disorients you. Or even the fire status, which could take you out of combat. I enjoy having a high hazard protection. That way I don't have to worry about that, agents. But always use whichever works best for you. This is just a template, something I use because I change up my builds very often. So keep that in mind. That's one thing I do want to throw out there. Now, agents. All right, like I said, agents, this winter theme event is only lasting for a short period of time. We have 3 weeks, 5 days as far as me recording this video. And as you can see right there at the very top, that is the community challenge outfit that will be rewarded whenever we do reach that number. That is a recommended donated keys. So that is amazing looking outfit, agents. So, you know, as long as we keep grinding for those keys, we will be able to obtain this outfit. And this event ends on January 6th. So let's take a look at the class specialization. We did go with the gunner class specialization because basically every third reload is 50% faster. You do get 10% armor back on a kill. And this is the only class where you will have access to the Banshee Pulse, which this launches a forward arc of pulse energy that disorients enemies caught in the wave. Also penetrates through cover as well. Keep in mind you do generate 10% of your total ammo capacity every 60 seconds. And also your rate of fire is increased by 5% for 5 seconds after a kill. One last thing, agents, don't forget to equip the correct weapon element to get your bonus and 15% increase in weapon damage. Since we are using the backfire SMG, I did want to make sure that was equipped. Now, the firewall specialization would work great with this build as well because you will have access to the striker shield, which basically will increase your weapon damage based on the number of enemies that are in front of you. The survivalist would have worked great as well, agents, because you would have got a little bit more protection from elites. It automatically comes with a passive that gives you 10% increase in protection from elites. These are some other great options, but always use whichever class specialization works best for you. So I will show you a little demonstration of me opening up some of these gifts that you can obtain from the special vendor that is only going to be available until January 6th. But first, here's a little bit of gameplay of me tackling these are the Krampus squad that basically appears in random locations. If you are familiar with the last boss encounter we had during the Halloween event, basically it's about the same, agents. Your goal is just to travel around the map. Some of my favorite spots I like is the DC area, well, DC map location, also the Lincoln Memorial, of course the Jefferson Trade Center. All those areas, if you keep forming those areas, agents, these guys spawn. Now the keys are not guaranteed to drop, or even a bounty is not guaranteed to drop either. So keep that in mind. You can kill it, you can sometimes obtain those keys from killing these regular enemies, but it is guaranteed when you do kill Krampus himself, you will automatically get a key then. Now, as far as the bounty automatically pops up in your inventory and on your mission, agents. And what you want to do is, instead of taking on the bounty right then, all you got to do is go on your screen basically and go to the map and click on the little icon and showing the location with the bounty and just abort the mission. And that way you can still have the bounty, but you don't have to do it right then. Instead of going and taking on Krampus right then, you can save up the bounties and then go, take on them after that. Some other ways you can is to basically just keep letting yourself get killed instead of killing Krampus himself, and that way you can keep reforming the area and killing his ads and maybe get a chance to get a key. So that is another option you can take as well. But like I said, and he's always in the same spot over here on the map. If you do have that control point near taking out agents, what I often do is I collect a bunch of bounties, go to that control point that's close near him, and then basically keep forming him over and over and repeating the cycle. All right, here's some items that I did obtain. The bell ringer LMG was an item. Basically, it just makes a bell sound. I did obtain the Ouroboros, agents, multiple Ouroboros actually, to be honest with you. It gave me, I think, up to a total of 2 of these Ouroboros and some of the other weapons. So this does have a high chance of dropping those raid weapons, some amazing raid weapons without actually having to raid. So now if you are a solo gamer, agents, this is the time you need to get out there, form and grind so you can obtain these raid weapons. All right, agents, so here is the same build that I just was utilizing to show you this build in Retaliation. So stick around, watch my full Retaliation run with this build, agents, just to show you that it works. It's great. So it basically works in all content in this game, agents. And like I said, agents, always, these builds are just templates. Make them your own. Change up what you want. You never have to use what I am utilizing. You agents, I just want to give you an idea. And like I said, Striker's gear set isn't nothing new. Pairing with Hazard isn't nothing new either, agents. And Backfire has been one of my favorite weapons for the longest, agents. I never really utilized this weapon a lot in the past because of the fact that of that bleed that it would apply to you. But simply just changing up those gear pieces and adding a little bit of hazard protection, if you don't care for that bleed, will make, and it's still a viable weapon without even without even being a global or seasonal modifier taking place. I have posted my previous video I made utilizing this weapon was 100% Has Pro. I wasn't using strikers, it's just a basic gear set agents, and I was able to take on a retaliation mission and tackle and take out all the bosses agents. As always, though, some factors that will play a part in your game is that your watch level needs to be at least level 1000 to have all the passes unlocked on your watch, and your weapon expertise will play a part in your build agents because you can get up to an additional 30% increase in weapon damage. All right, agents, stick around for the rest of the gameplay. As always, stay strong, sharp, Dwerewolf out.
Immediate medical assistance needed. Agent out of action.
Gonna take him out!
Reinforcements incoming. Detecting additional hostile contacts. Heavily armored hostile detected.
Idiot! Throwing frag!
Heavily armored hostile detected.
Frag out! Get back!
Taking care of it.
Heavily armored
Deploying
hostile
frag!
detected.
Won't be anything left of here.
They're headed to my position.
Kill squad incoming. They've got reinforcements! Kill squad down. Grenade! Get out! Oh! Grenade out!
Reinforcements en route. Incoming hostiles detected. Heavily armored hostiles detected.
Clearing out!
Heavily armored hostiles.
How the hell? Eat this!
Heavily armored hostiles.
They're too close! Watch out! Incoming, good! Here I am! Grenade!
They're creeping up on me!
Eat this!